The rain pounded against the windshield as I navigated the winding roads of suburban Seattle, my GPS leading me to my boss's house for what was supposed to be a routine strategy meeting. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, replaying the email in my mind. Alex, come over tonight. We need to finalize the pitch. Doors open, Mark. But as I pulled into the driveway of his sleek mid-century modern home, a knot formed in my stomach, one that had nothing to do with work deadlines and everything to do with the unspoken tension that had been building between us for months. I stepped out, umbrella in hand, and dashed to the porch. Mark opened the door before I could knock, his broad shoulders filling the frame, a faint smile playing on his lips that didn't quite reach his eyes. You're soaked. Come in, let's get this done. His voice was steady, professional, but there was an edge to it, like he was holding back a storm of his own. We settled in his home office, papers spread across the oak desk, laptops glowing in the dim light. The pitch was for a major client, a tech startup aiming to disrupt the market, and Mark was relentless in his critiques. This slide is weak, Alex. It lacks conviction. We can't afford to half-ass this. His words stung, not because they were wrong, but because they echoed the doubts I'd been harboring about my place in the company, and in his life. I joined the firm 2 years ago, fresh out of college, and Mark had taken me under his wing, mentoring me with an intensity that blurred the lines between boss and confidant. As the hours ticked by, the conversation shifted from business metrics to personal anecdotes. Mark poured us whiskey, the amber liquid swirling in crystal glasses. You know, I wasn't always this corporate machine, he said, leaning back in his chair, his tie loosened. Back in college, I dreamed of being an artist, painting the world as I saw it, raw, unfiltered. I nodded, sipping slowly, feeling the warmth spread through me. What stopped you? I asked, my voice quieter than intended. He hesitated, his gaze locking onto mine. Life, expectations. My family pushed me into business, said art was for dreamers, not providers. There was a bitterness there, one I'd glimpsed before in late-night office chats. But tonight, alone in his house, it felt heavier, more intimate. I shared my own story, growing up in a conservative Midwest town, hiding my sexuality until I moved to the West Coast for freedom. Coming out was like shedding a skin, I confessed. But even here, in this progressive city, I feel like I'm always proving myself. Mark set his glass down, his expression darkening. Proving yourself? To who? The world doesn't owe us acceptance, Alex. We take it. His tone sharpened, and suddenly, the room felt smaller. I challenged him. Easy for you to say. You're the CEO, married to the job. No one questions your choices. He flinched, and I realized I'd hit a nerve. Married to the job? That's all you see. He stood, pacing to the window, rain streaking the glass like tears. The argument escalated quickly. You've been flirting with disaster, Alex, pushing boundaries at work, sharing too much. What do you want from me? His voice rose, echoing off the walls. I stood too, heart racing. Maybe I want honesty. You've been sending mixed signals for months, late nights, personal calls. If it's just mentorship, say it. He turned, face flushed. It's not that simple. I'm twice your age, your boss. Society sees us as a scandal waiting to happen. The air crackled with unspoken truths. I stepped closer, the whiskey emboldening me. Society? Or you? Are you afraid of what this could mean? He didn't back away, his breath mingling with mine. For a moment, time suspended, the weight of our desires clashing against the barriers we'd built. Then he pulled back, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair. We can't. Not like this. But the damage was done. The meeting dissolved into silence, broken only by the storm outside. As I gathered my things to leave, Mark's hand on my arm stopped me. Stay. We need to talk this through. I nodded, knowing this was no longer about the pitch. It was about us, two men caught in the crossfire of ambition, identity, and forbidden longing. The night wore on, revelations pouring out like the rain. Mark confessed his own struggles. A failed marriage in his 20s to a woman he loved but couldn't fully commit to. because deep down he knew he was gay. I buried it for success, he said, voice cracking. Climbed the ladder, built this empire, but at what cost? I listened, my own walls crumbling. I dated casually, but nothing stuck. The corporate grind left little room for vulnerability. By dawn, the storm had passed, but ours was just beginning. We agreed to keep it professional, at least for now. But as I drove home, the city awakening around me, I couldn't shake the heat of that confrontation. It wasn't anger. It was spark, the kind that ignites change. Back at the office the next Monday, the air between Mark and me was thick with unspoken words. Colleagues bustled around, oblivious to the undercurrent, as we dove into the week's agenda. But every glance, every brush of hands during meetings, felt charged. I threw myself into work, refining the pitch with a fervor that impressed even the skeptics on the team. Yet, in quiet moments, my mind replayed that night. His vulnerability, the raw honesty that peeled back his polished facade. Lunchtime found me in the break room, staring at my sandwich, when Sarah, our HR manager, slid into the seat across from me. You look like you pulled an all-nighter. Everything okay? She was sharp, always attuned to office dynamics. I forced a smile. Just the usual grind. Big presentation coming up. She nodded, but her eyes lingered. Heard you were at Mark's place last week. Late-night strategy sessions. Huh. Her tone was casual, but it carried a hint of probe. I froze, heart pounding. Yeah, work stuff. She leaned in. Be careful, Alex. Office romances are tricky, especially with power imbalances. Company policy is clear. I laughed it off, but her words planted seeds of doubt. Was this what we were heading toward? A scandal that could derail both our careers? That evening, Mark texted, "Dinner? Neutral ground. Italian place downtown." I agreed, curiosity overriding caution. The restaurant was bustling, fairy lights strung across the patio, but we chose a corner booth for privacy. Over pasta and wine, the conversation flowed easily at first, business triumphs, industry gossip. Then, inevitably, it turned personal. Why me? I asked, twirling my fork. Of all the people in the firm, why open up to me? Mark set down his glass, his eyes intense. Because you see through the bullshit. You're not afraid to call me out. In a world of yes men, that's rare. I felt a flush rise. And you? What do you see in a junior analyst like me? He smiled faintly. Potential. Fire. Someone who reminds me of who I used to be before I compromised everything for success. But the evening took a turn when an old acquaintance of Mark's approached our table. Mark. Long time no see. Who's this? The man, polished in a suit, eyed me curiously. Mark introduced me as a valued colleague, but the stranger's smirk suggested he saw more. Still playing it safe, eh? Remember that summer in the Hamptons? Wild times. Mark tensed, steering the conversation away, but the damage lingered. Later, walking to our cars, he sighed. That was Richard, an ex from college. We were involved briefly. He outed me to mutual friends back then, nearly derailed my life. I stopped, shocked. Why didn't you say anything? He shrugged. Old wounds. But it reminds me why we have to be careful. Society isn't as accepting as it pretends. The next weeks blurred into a dance of proximity and restraint. We collaborated on projects, our ideas syncing seamlessly, but the tension built. One late night at the office, as the last lights dimmed, Mark cornered me in the conference room. This is torture, Alex. Pretending nothing's changed. I nodded, pulse racing. Then what? Risk everything. He stepped closer. Maybe it's worth it. But we need ground rules, no favoritism, no public displays. Our first tentative date was a hike in the Cascades, away from prying eyes. Amid towering pines and rushing streams, we talked dreams. Mine of starting my own firm one day, his of retiring to paint. Laughter came easily, barriers softening. But reality intruded when my phone buzzed. A text from my roommate, Jake, a fellow gay man who'd faced discrimination at his job. Heard rumors at the bar. You and the boss? Dude, that's career suicide. Doubt crept in. Was I naive? Mark had power. I had ambition. Society's lens would paint him as the predator, me as the opportunist. Family expectations loomed too. My parents, still adjusting to my coming out, would see this as reckless. The conflict peaked at a company gala, black tie affair at a downtown hotel. Mark looked dashing in his tux, but his speech on innovation felt hollow to me. During the after-party, alcohol loosened tongues. A senior exec pulled me aside. "You're rising fast, kid. Don't screw it up with distractions." His knowing look said it all. Mark and I stole away to the balcony, city lights twinkling below. "They're talking," I whispered. He nodded grimly. "Let them. We define us." But his confidence wavered when his ex-wife called later that night. Amicable divorce, but she warned him about repeating patterns. "Don't hurt him like you hurt us," she said, her voice audible over the phone. As I lay awake that night, the weight pressed down. Love was budding, but at what cost? Careers, reputations, societal judgments, all clashing against our fragile connection. The rumors spread like wildfire through the office corridors, whispers turning into sidelong glances. I felt exposed, my every move scrutinized. Mark noticed too, his emails becoming more formal, our interactions clipped. "We need to cool it," he said one afternoon in his office, door closed. "For now." I agreed, but the ache was immediate, a void where our budding intimacy had been. Home life offered no respite. My parents visited from Ohio, their Midwestern values clashing with Seattle's liberalism. Over dinner, Dad grilled me about work. "Sounds like you're close with the boss. That's good for networking." Mom's eyes narrowed. "Just be professional, honey. We don't want any complications." Their unspoken fear, my sexuality leading to scandal, hung heavy. I changed the subject, but the tension simmered. Jake, my roommate, was blunter. "This is messed up, Alex. Power dynamics scream exploitation. What if he fires you when it sours?" His words echoed societal critiques I'd read online. Articles decrying workplace romances, especially in LGBTQ contexts where stereotypes amplified the drama. Was I complicit in a system that disadvantaged others? Mark faced his own battles. At a board meeting, a conservative investor questioned his leadership. Personal life bleeding into professional? We need stability. Mark held firm, but confided later. "They're digging. My past, the divorce, rumors from college. If this comes out, it could tank the company." Guilt gnawed at me. Was our connection worth the risk? We met secretly in a coffee shop outside town, disguising it as a vendor discussion. "I miss you," he admitted, hand brushing mine under the table. "But the stakes are high." I nodded, torn. "Me too. But society won't let us forget the labels. Boss, employee, gay men in a straight world." The conversation turned heated. "Screw society," he snapped. "We've fought for rights. Why hide?" I countered. "Because hiding protects us. Outing ourselves invites backlash." The argument spilled into the parking lot, voices raised. "You're scared," he accused. "Of what? Commitment or judgment?" I fired back. "And you're reckless. Your privilege as CEO shields you. I have everything to lose." We parted angry, the rift widening. Weeks passed in strained silence. Work suffered, my focus slipped, pitches faltered. Sarah called me into HR. Anonymous complaint about favoritism. "We have to investigate." Panic surged. "It's baseless," I insisted. But the probe uncovered emails, late-night texts. Innocent, but damning in context. Mark defended me in the inquiry, but it cost him. Board members pressured for transparency. "Disclose any conflicts," they demanded. He refused, citing privacy, but the strain showed. Bags under his eyes, shorter temper. Personal fallout hit harder. My sister called, worried. Mom and Dad heard through the grapevine. They're freaking out. Is he involved with his boss? I denied it, but the lie tasted bitter. In the gay community, opinions split. Some cheered the romance, Others decried it as reinforcing hierarchies. A turning point came at Pride weekend. I attended alone, rainbow flags waving amid crowds. Seeing couples openly affectionate stirred envy. Mark texted, "Meet me at the park?" I went, finding him in civilian clothes, no suit armor. "I can't do this halfway," he said. "If we're in, we're all in. Damn the consequences." We talked for hours, unpacking fears. His repeating past mistakes, losing the company he built. Mine, derailing my career, alienating family. But beneath it, a shared resolve emerged. "Love shouldn't be a battle," I said. He agreed. "But sometimes it is. And we're fighters." Post-Pride, we navigated cautiously. Disclosed to HR voluntarily, accepting oversight. Colleagues' reactions varied. Supportive nods from some, cold shoulders from others. The investor pulled out, citing instability. A blow to finances. Family confrontations ensued. My parents flew in again, dinner turning into intervention. "This is inappropriate," Dad boomed. "He's your superior." Mom teared up. "We accept you, but this? It's risky." I defended. "It's real. Love doesn't follow rules." They left unconvinced, straining our bond. Mark's side mirrored. His grown daughter, from the marriage, visited. "Dad, are you sure?" "After Mom." She eyed me warily. "I want him happy," she said eventually. "But protect yourself." Her tentative acceptance was a win, but fragile. As summer faded, the drama intensified. A rival firm poached clients, whispering about our distraction. Mark fought back, rallying the team. In the chaos, our relationship deepened. Stolen moments, quiet support. But the pressure tested us. One night, after a grueling day, we argued again. "Is this worth it?" I yelled. "The judgment, the losses?" He pulled me close. "You are." The embrace held promise, but shadows loomed. The company's annual retreat in the mountains was meant to boost morale, but for us, it amplified the scrutiny. Cabins nestled among evergreens, team-building exercises forcing proximity. Mark and I maintained distance during days, ropes courses, strategy sessions, but nights brought temptation. Whispers followed. "Did you see them talking alone?" A bonfire evening escalated tensions. Colleagues shared stories, laughter echoing. Then, a tipsy exec joked, "Mark, when's the wedding?" Office pools betting on it. Laughter died as eyes turned to us. Mark forced a chuckle. "Focus on work, folks." But the comment stung, highlighting the elephant in the room. Later, alone in his cabin, emotions boiled over. "We can't keep hiding," I said. "It's eating us alive." He paced. "Outing us fully? The media would feast. CEO's gay affair rocks tech firm." I countered. "Maybe transparency disarms them. Living in fear is worse." The debate raged, voices echoing societal divides. Progress versus tradition, love versus convention. Mark revealed more. Childhood in a strict household, where men don't cry, don't deviate. "I built walls to survive," he admitted. I shared my own scars. High school bullying, the isolation of being the only out kid. "We deserve better," I insisted. Resolution came painfully. We decided to go public internally, via a company email. Personal update. Mark and I are in a relationship. We commit to professionalism. Reactions poured in. Supportive messages from millennials. Concerns from veterans. One anonymous email stung. "This sets a bad precedent. Resign." External backlash followed. A conservative blog picked up the story, "Power imbalance in LGBTQ romance. Exploitation or love?" Comments flooded. Some praising bravery, others accusing opportunism. Mark's stock dipped. Clients hesitated. Family rifts deepened. My parents cut contact briefly. Mom emailing, "We need time. This isn't what we envisioned." Hurt, I leaned on Mark, but his own demons surfaced. "Maybe they're right," he muttered one night. "I'm too old for you, too set in my ways." Self-doubt fueled arguments. "You're pulling away," I accused. "To protect you," he shot back. A crisis hit when a key project failed, blame shifting to distractions. Board called an emergency meeting. Step down or dissolve the relationship, they demanded. Mark refused. My personal life isn't negotiable. But the ultimatum forced choices. We escaped to the coast, waves crashing as we walked the beach. What now? I asked. He stopped, facing me. I love you, Alex. But love means sacrifice. Tears welled. Don't say it. He did. Maybe space. For the company. For you. Heartbroken, I returned to Seattle alone, throwing myself into job hunts. Interviews highlighted prejudices. Heard about your situation. Stable. Rejections piled up. Societal biases exposed. Mark soldiered on, but reports showed strain. Layoffs looming. Guilt consumed me. Was our love selfish? Friends debated. Jake said yes. Disrupted lives. Others, no. Challenged norms. Reconciliation sparked unexpectedly. At an industry conference, we crossed paths. Eyes met across the room, old fire reigniting. Over coffee, apologies flowed. I was wrong, he said. We fight together. I agreed. No more running. Back together, we adapted. Mark delegated more, reducing power imbalance. I pursued independent projects, proving merit. Society's noise faded, but scars remained. As fall arrived, a new challenge, Mark's health scare. A stress-induced episode. Hospital bedside, I held his hand. This life we chose. It's worth it, he whispered. Recovery strengthened us, but highlighted vulnerabilities. Community involvement helped. We volunteered at LGBTQ centers, sharing our story. Youth listened wide-eyed. How do you handle hate? We answered honestly, with love, resilience. Yet doubts lingered. A heated panel discussion at a gay rights event turned confrontational. An activist challenged, your privilege blinds you. Not everyone can afford scandal. Mark defended, our story humanizes the fight, but it sparked self-reflection. Through it all, our bond evolved, from heated beginnings to tempered strength. Love, we learned, wasn't just passion, it was endurance against odds. With the company stabilized, Mark and I carved a new normal. Mornings started with shared coffee, evenings with quiet dinners. But societal undercurrents persisted, subtle discriminations at events, where straight couples blended seamlessly, while we navigated stairs. Ignore them, Mark advised, but each instance chipped at our armor. A major test came with a family wedding, my cousin's in Ohio. Bring him, she insisted, progressive ally. But parents' attendance loomed. At the airport, nerves frayed. If they reject us, we leave, Mark said, hand squeezing mine. Reception was mixed. Cousins hugged warmly. Aunts whispered. Dad approached stiffly. Didn't expect this. Mom teared. We're trying. Over cake, conversation thawed. Mark charming them with stories. By night's end, tentative peace. Visit soon, Dad grunted. Progress, but fragile. Back home, professional hurdles arose. A promotion opportunity for me sparked debate. Earned or favoritism? I proved it through results, but the accusation lingered, fueling imposter syndrome. Mark faced similar, biased decisions? He implemented blind reviews, transparency winning skeptics. Intimacy deepened amid chaos. We traveled to Provincetown, gay haven, where freedom reigned. Hand-in-hand strolls, no judgment, rejuvenating. This could be everywhere, I mused. Mark nodded. One day, but reality bit. A hate crime in the news, gay couple assaulted, hit close. Could be us, I feared. Mark held me. We live fully despite. Climax built with a corporate merger. Rival CEO. Homophobic undertones. Sneered. Diverse leadership? Risky. Negotiations heated. Mark standing firm. Inclusion drives innovation. Deal sealed, but at cost exhaustion. Personal revelation. Mark proposed therapy, unpacking traumas. Sessions revealed patterns. His avoidance from past outing. My people-pleasing from bullying. Growth painful but bonding. Community backlash surprised. An LGBTQ forum post criticized, age gap romance glorifies inequality. Defenders countered, love is love. We engaged. Mark writing an op-ed, our story, beyond labels. It sparked dialogue, but divided opinions. As winter set, reflection dominated. Holidays alone first, then blended families. My parents hosted awkwardly, but warmth grew. Mark's daughter joined, toasting to new beginnings. Yet, a final conflict. Job offer for me elsewhere, higher pay, no baggage. Take it, Mark urged. Prove yourself independently. Torn, I accepted, bittersweet. Distance tested us, commutes, video calls, but strengthened resolve. In the end, our story wasn't fairy tale. It was real, messy, triumphant. We navigated society's minefields, emerging scarred but whole. Was sacrificing personal happiness for societal acceptance ever truly worth it?